Welcome back to my channel. If we haven't met, my name is Catherine Morris and I'm all about raising awareness of just how important our thoughts are. Our thoughts have a direct impact on every single aspect of our life, and actually the people we are now, the best version of ourselves we are now, is a direct correlation to the thoughts that we've had in the past. But that's really great news, because that means that we can think about our thoughts to make ourselves a better future. In this series, I'm particularly looking at what social media is serving up, particularly for me. We all know that our social media feed can be really positive and have an important impact on our well-being and how we feel. But it can also be quite negative and potentially destructive if what we're served is something that doesn't either align with what we believe or is actually reinforcing negative beliefs that have been put there from past experiences. So the golden nugget for today is: the devil will attack you through people that you think love you. Watch your circle. Now, when I first read that, this is the first one that straight away I thought, yeah, absolutely, I totally agree with that. But I wanted to explain a little bit about why. And actually, this is quite a challenging one to look at. So, we know that the Bible warns us about bad people, nasty people, thieves in the night, people that will steal your joy, the enemy that will attack and try to take your peace. So if we've got that understanding, then it should be quite easy to then come to the realization that there may be some people in our lives who don't serve us, who do not bring us joy, and who do not want the best for us. But actually, I personally found that really challenging. Because what if these people who are not helpful and potentially destructive for our well-being, for our future best self, what if they are close to us? What if they are people in our family, in our close circle? What if they're parents or siblings? What if we're dealing with people who we thought were friends, but actually they've ended up being a negative influence, and we're not able to move and grow and become the best version of ourselves with those people around us? And I think that is really challenging. I looked up a couple of Bible quotes. There are so many warning about the people we hang out with, but just a couple here. Do not set foot on the path of the wicked, or walk in the ways of evildoers. That's Proverbs 4:14. Another great one: do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. That's from 1 Corinthians 15 verses 33. And it got me thinking about how I ended up on this journey of self-improvement and trying to become the best version of myself, trying to work out what is my purpose, what am I supposed to be doing, how am I meant to be serving God best. And if you're on a similar journey, it might be that you are going through, or you've been through a stage a little bit like I did. I seem to be attempting life by approaching my faith through my own experiences. And what I mean by that is I seem to bring with it myself. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that, because we are loved as we are, and you know, we are made the way we are. But if we are bringing personal experiences, good and bad experiences, they actually filter our perspective. It filters our vision, and it filters how we see the world, see ourselves, see other people, and actually come to our faith. So I thought if we could spin it on its head and think about coming at our life with the filter of our faith, then we're more likely to reach a truth and become a best version of ourselves. That said, there will be people in our lives who don't serve us, and it's really difficult to be our authentic self and grow and learn and change. Because I always remember a saying, and I don't remember who said it now, but it's something that I've really lived by. Years ago, I came to realise that beware of people who knew you when is actually a real thing. The people who knew you when you made that mistake, when you went for that job but didn't get it, when you had that awful partner who wasn't healthy for you, when you made this decision and that decision and it didn't turn out. The people who knew you back then, they see you in that way. They see you in that context. And it's sometimes difficult for people who know us a long, long time to accept change, to accept growth, to accept that we've got different attitudes, different values, and we feel differently, and we even come at life in a different way. And if they haven't seen that side of you and they are used to how you used to be, they might actually find it difficult to see you change and become the best version of yourself. It might also mean that they somehow feel jealous because they're not ready to make their changes and grow in the way that they could. It might be that they're a bit resentful because you end up hanging out with people who you didn't before, and I don't know, maybe they feel left behind. Maybe they feel like they're not as close to you as they once were. And this is really, really challenging because we do have a circle around us who supposedly are going to be good for us. But if the people around us are not ready to let us grow, not ready to let us move on, and potentially be quite destructive, maybe they are not very encouraging, maybe they're not very helpful, maybe it's more damaging than that, and there's a bit of psychological abuse there. If this happens, it's really important that we move so that we can grow into the best version of ourselves. But it might mean leaving some people behind. And that is the crux of what the problem is, if we're close to them or if they're family members. Because how do we go about that? Well, this is a much more in-depth discussion, which I will go into at a later date. But for now, I think one of the important things to do is pray. Ask for guidance, ask for awareness. If we're not even aware that there are people who are holding us back, we don't know that we need to move through that, heal, and move on to become a better version of ourselves. So praying for awareness is absolutely essential initially. If you're here and you're listening to this video, there's a good chance you're already coming to some sort of awareness. And maybe there's aspects of your life that you'd like to grow in, you'd like to be better, you'd like to change, maybe even leave behind altogether and move on from. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, maybe it's even where you live. And maybe you're starting to believe that it's actually time for something better. If this is the case, you will need people around you to support you and to encourage you, but also to be honest about what they think. And it might be that you've never had anybody around you before who is able to give you this kind of guidance, because after all, we're all on our own journey and people have different paths that they're treading and they're on a different place in their journey. And maybe people don't realise. You know, yesterday I was taking time with a really good friend who's a bit of a mentor for me, and she really helped me come to the realisation that when we are ready to grow, when we're ready to move on, it's really, really important that we're ready to let go of some things. And this will only happen when we have support, have guidance, we're clear on where we want to go, and we're ready to let things go. And sometimes letting go of things can be the hardest thing. But I truly believe that if we let go of some things, it will make space in our life for what's coming next. Because the one thing we're promised is that what comes next is better. I'm not saying things are going to be easy. I'm not saying that there won't be challenges. But whatever we are promised, it is going to be full of peace and abundance and joy and love and all of the things that God promises us. So my suggestion for you today is pray into this. Think about where you may need to be aware of people around you that are not serving you and maybe actually can be destructive for your growth, for your well-being. And then get support from someone who you trust, someone you can talk to. And I don't know, that could be a friend, it could be somebody at church, it could be in prayer ministry, it could be counselling. But the idea is that we cannot move forward and make big changes in our life without people surrounding us. It's not something we're supposed to do on our own, and it's not something that we can do successfully on our own very easily, because it will always be an uphill struggle. Please remember, you always have Jesus as a friend, and that's really, really important at times of challenge and change. So this one really did speak to me. If you have somebody in your life who is not for you, that means that really they're against you. And it might be that you need to start setting some boundaries in order to be able to say, this is no longer who I am, this is my expectation. And again, that's really hard to change because people are used to how we were in the past. They're used to us having no boundaries. They're used to us putting up with things. They're used to being able to ask us to do anything and we'll just say yes. But the simple fact is, if we want to be the best version of ourselves, we are going to have to learn boundaries and we're going to have to learn to say no. And that starts with really small things. So maybe practice that today. Maybe somebody invites you for coffee. And yeah, you might be okay about going, but it doesn't really fill you with joy. It's actually okay to say, no, thank you, not today. So that's something that you can practice. It might be that somebody calls you and you don't actually not ready to talk to them at the moment. And it's okay to say, with love, I'd love to talk to you, but not right now. Can we make another time at a later date? Saying no has a big impact on empowering us to be able to recognise the people who are going to support us in our growth and our learning journey, and those that are actually going to feel threatened by it and end up holding us back. So I'll leave that one with you today. I love you. I'll speak to you again soon.